Thank you for coming to class today. So we've been working on, or I've been bringing into the classes this concept of Santosha. So Santosha is contentment, according to Patanjali, and it's the first niyama, and the niyamas are practices that we're meant to do on a daily, regular basis. So, and Santosha is the first one. So it's really important to keep ourselves in a place of contentment. And the easiest way to do that is to discern when you're not content. And then you can start to use all of the different practices that you have, this one, and I'm sure you have others as well, that you use to bring yourself into a state of harmony and balance. And I always like to look up the synonyms for words and then the antonyms for words, because it helps me. So some of the synonyms for contentment are fulfillment, gratification, satisfaction, serenity. So those are the qualities that we want to cultivate, right? That sense of fulfillment, satisfaction, serenity. And specifically, we want to cultivate them in our poses. And today we want to cultivate them in our standing poses. So if standing poses are a little bit challenging for you, so then it's about, or any category of posture. So the postures are really like a laboratory, and then you can go out into your life, and we all have relationships that are a little bit disturbing. How can we find contentment in a certain situation that maybe we're feeling not so content? So the yoga practice is a laboratory for life. That's what it's meant to be. Some of the antonyms for contentment are disappointment, dissatisfaction, trouble, unhappiness, agitation, upset, and worry. So if you're in any of those, you know that you're not in contentment. So then it's like a red flag, a flashing light that says, okay, it's time to come back to practice, come back to your breath, come back to the present moment, and come back to a state of contentment. So let's work on that today as we practice together our yoga. So please switch the cross of your legs. Just make sure you're sitting on enough height that your knees are basically the same level as your hips, and you can have a sense of taking a seat. Take off any glasses and bring your hands onto your thighs. It should feel like your base is widening. So the thighs go down, the sitting bones go down, and then lift upwards through the sides of your trunk and find a broadness at the top of your chest and the top of your upper back. So it's very much like a T shape, up and then very broad at the top. Place your head right over your shoulders and find that line from the base of your spine all the way up through the crown of your head. And then close your eyes and take some deeper breaths in, have some longer breaths out. And just see where you're at today. If you're in a place of contentment or not, without ever judging your experience, just kind of notice where your body, your mind, and your mood are at this morning. And as you take some deeper breaths in, having some longer breaths out, start to flow your head into your heart space and have some compassion for yourself, whatever is arising in your experience. Soften the skin of your face, the muscles of your face, your jaw, and bring yourself more into your heart. And draw your hands to your heart center. Press your hands evenly into each other and lift your breastbone. Bring your outer shoulders back. And press your shoulder blades into your back body. And as you get connected and collected into your heart space, acknowledge the deeper dimension of yourself, that part of you that, believe it or not, is always contented, always peaceful, always serene, always filled with a sense of happiness that isn't caused by anything outside. It's just an uncaused happiness. That's your true nature according to yoga. So even if that's just imaginary for you, See if you can acknowledge that aspect of yourself. And please join me for 3 ohms. Lift your chest upwards, and as you bow your head downwards, just intend deeply in your heart space for this practice of yoga today to help you come to a deeper place of contentment and fulfillment and inner peace. Release your hands down to your thighs with your palms upwards. Raise your head and then slowly open up your eyes. Okay, so stretch out your legs, everybody. And let's just start in child's pose. So bring your hands forward, sit on your feet, have your knees apart. Take any props you need for that pose, so that your hips are not up in space. They're on something, whether it's your feet or a blanket. So Karen, open up that blanket like a little bit bigger. You want that for your knees? Okay. Yeah, put it, you can put it under your knees there if you want to, under the knees. So just kind of, yeah, that looks good, Rajiv. And then you just need a blanket here. So if you're feeling a little stiffer in this pose, just go a little bit wider with your knees. And then press your hands down as you spread your fingers. Make sure your hands are as wide as your shoulders, maybe even wider if you feel any restriction in the shoulders today. Straighten your arms and use the strength of your arms to move your thighs deeper back. And your outer hips move down. And have a sense of the sacrum. It flows back. And it also comes down into the body, the sacrum, like a puzzle piece, just beautifully fitting into the body, the sacrum. And then from that backward motion, see if you can move your hands further forward and grow the sides of your trunk out of your hips. And then move your shoulder blades into your upper back so that your upper back starts to move in and your breastbone comes forward away from the navel. Spread your fingers away from your palms. Have your arms fully extended. So your elbows are off the floor. Your arms are basically like downward dog, but not weight bearing. And that's it. And then come on up into downward facing dog. Do the first one with your feet as wide as the sticky mat. That's it. Susan, are these your blocks here? Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, that's really good what you're doing, but just put some blocks there because this rope was a little bit too short for that. So I just put blocks here like this, and then have your heels in front of the blocks. Yes. Does that feel okay? Much better, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. So do that. There you go. Yeah, if anyone here ever wants to do ropes, I don't mind. You know, you can always go back to the ropes and do that if you know how to do that. That's fine. So just kind of see what's happening in your pose. If I ever hold too long for you, you know, you can always come down into child's pose and then go back up. That's no problem with that. Have your You can turn your hands out just a little bit, straighten your arms, connect your arms to your shoulder blades, and then reach from your shoulder blades back into your inner hands as you turn the tops of your arms out away from the sides of your neck. And then take your heels a little bit wider than your toes and reach the heels down. Even if they don't come down, you're reaching them down, and then draw your legs up into your pelvis, all the way up into your sacrum. Take a deeper inhalation, move your thighs back, and then move your hips back. That's it. Away from your shoulders, so you're maximizing that length on the sides of your trunk. Let your breath flow freely. Yeah, and you can always, to make your dog pose better, you could always put like blocks under your hands. I think you did that before, right? Yeah, that's it. And then come back down into child's pose. But this time have your knees together if possible. Have your knees together, have your feet together. Your heels can come a little bit apart. If that doesn't feel good, take the knees apart again. Take the knees apart, take any props you need. And your head may not make it to the floor for this one. If it's uncomfortable for your neck, put something under your forehead. But just feel the difference between the knees apart and the knees together. And that's it. And then again, press your hands down and move your hips back, thighs back, and then extend the sides of your trunk and breathe into your back body. With the knees together, you can feel how the back body starts to spread a little bit more. Good. Okay, and then walk your hands back alongside your head and then come on up. And we're going to do some Supta Padangustasana work. So the best thing for you guys is just turn so that your feet will be towards the ropes. So you have lots of room to lift up your arms. Yeah, so Supta Padangustasana, you can have a blanket for your head. You'll need a belt. I'll show you the first position to come into. So the first position, just have your belt, an unlooped belt, over your chest or your abdomen this way. Your knees are bent and your arms are upwards. So come into this position. So Supta Urdhva Hastasana with the knees bent and have your arms upwards. If you need any props under your hands, you can put a bolster under your hands and make sure to have, your blocks as needed outside your hips. So turn the other way. You're gonna go that way because of your leg. That's fine, Veronica. Yeah, that's fine. Otherwise, there's lots of space over here if you want to come, or even here if you feel crowded over there. Okay, so make sure with your arms lifted, just once you have your position, just bring your arms to your sides again and lengthen your buttocks flesh. So you feel like you're balanced on your sacrum. That's it. And then maintain that balance of the sacrum and keep your back ribs moving down, and then re-lift up the arms and lengthen from your hips all the way up to your hands. That's it. Keep that balance on your sacrum, and then keep your heels on the floor and like scrub your heels along the floor and straighten your legs. Straighten your legs. Yes. Straighten those legs. Reach your feet away from your hands. Hands away from feet, straighten your arms, go wider with your legs if you need to. So legs are straight, arms are straight now. And then bring your right knee up into the chest and interlace the fingers on the front of that right shin bone and keep pressing that left leg down. I find one of the best ways to find contentment in any category of poses is to really warm up the body really well. And especially as I move on in life, I find a longer warm up really helps me in all of my different categories of poses. So we'll just do a nice, delicious warm up today. So once you have that right knee up, bring your right foot up into your belt. And just bring your right leg up so where your right leg can be straight. You're not pulling it inwards just yet. Press the left leg down and extend it, and then just point your right heel upwards and pull the ball of your foot down with the belt until you feel a lengthening of the calf muscle. Extend that calf muscle and open up the back of the knee, the calf muscle. Reach it up to the heel. And then push up into the belt with the ball mound of your foot. Keep the back of your neck long. And now pull your right foot a little bit closer. Pull your right foot closer towards you. But as you do that, make sure that your left thigh is still pressing down and your right thigh is pressing back, pressing that right thigh back. Good. Now hold on to the belt with the right hand. And again, if you need support outside your right hip, use a block or use a bolster there, and then slowly bring that right leg out to the side, making sure that you're not tipping your pelvis over. So don't let your left waist come up. Don't let your hips kind of tip. And if they are, just use some support outside that right thigh. And then you can choose either bring your elbow down, your right elbow in line with the shoulder, or you can keep it up. And then establish your left leg. That's your anchor. That doesn't change. So there's always something that's unchanging, and then there's something that's moving. And that relates to these two concepts in the philosophy of yoga called Purusha and Prakriti. So Purusha is always unchanging, it's stable, and Prakriti is always moving. So move your right leg away from your pelvis without letting your pelvis be influenced. If there's room, stretch your left arm out to the side and move your left leg more to the left. Move that left leg more to the left. That's it. And keep opening up that inner right leg. The abdomen moves to the left a little bit. Good. Now come back to the center. Hold the belt with your left hand. Inhale, and then exhale. Take that right leg over to the left, just a little bit. So again, your left leg is stable. It's not changing. It's the Purusha leg, and your right leg is the Prakriti leg. And then reach into the belt with that inner right foot. Lift up into the belt with the outer right foot. And see if you have contentment in the pose. So back off if you're forcing, back off a little bit. Some of you can go a little bit further if you're feeling well, and you're working to move the right hip down away from your right shoulder. Draw the right foot up towards the left shoulder. Connect with your breath. And remember, you've never done this pose before. You've never done this pose before because you have a new body and a new mind each time you do the pose. So it's always fresh and new. So see if you can bring that sense of freshness to it. Good. And then come back to the center and release that leg. Great. Just put the belt across your chest. Stretch out that right leg. Good. And then bend both knees again. Bend both knees. Bring your feet flat. And raise your arms up. Raise your arms up. Make sure that you're balanced on your sacrum. Some of us tend to tuck under too much, so we come to the top of the sacrum. And some of us tend to do the opposite. We arch too much, and we come to the tailbone side of the sacrum. So see if you can find that balance as you scrub your heels along the floor and stretch out your legs and reach your hands away from your feet. Yes. Fingernails away from heels. Thighs down, back ribs down, sacrum even. Then inhale, as you exhale, draw your left knee up into the chest and interlace the fingers on the front of that left shin bone and pull the left thigh down. Press that right leg down into the floor. Staying balanced on your sacrum, and then belt your left foot on the big toe mound and little toe mound of the foot and take your left leg upwards. Just to where your leg can be straight. So we're not pulling in just yet. Hold the belt so your hands are apart. And then establish that right leg, press it down. Keep lengthening the back of your neck a little bit more. There you go, good. And then inhale, as you exhale, pull your ball mound of your left foot down and point your heel upwards. Point that heel upwards to get that lengthening in the calf muscle, the gastrocnemius. Keeping the right thigh pressing down, spread the toes. That's it. Now inhale, as you exhale, push your left foot up into the belt. So now your ball of your foot is level with your heel. Inhale, and then exhale, pull your left foot in. But keep your right thigh pressing down. That's it. And keep moving the very top of that left thigh back away from the abdomen, the middle of the thigh, and the thigh near to the knee. So all of those three places move back. And then you pull the foot as close as you can without compromising the bottom leg, without bending that top leg. Good. Now hold on to the belt with your left hand. Have any support you need outside your left hip. Inhale, and then exhale. Take that left leg out to the side and press into the belt with your left foot and start to extend the fibers of your inner left leg, keeping your right waist down, making sure that your pelvis, your right leg, your chest are all in stability. They're not moving. What's moving is your left leg. And the inner leg draws out and the outer leg draws back in. The elbow can be up or down, that left elbow. Deepen your breath, lift your shoulder blades up into the back. And then see if you can stretch your right arm out to the side and move your right leg a little bit more to the right. And as you do that, lengthen the inseams of your legs all the way to your inner heels, like where there's a seam on pants and tights and stuff. Lengthen that inseam all the way out to those inner legs and inner feet. Super good. Now bring your right leg back to the center, bring your left leg back and hold the belt with your right hand. Inhale, keep your right leg stabilized. And as you exhale, take your left leg over and keep reaching into that belt with your inner left foot, lifting up into the belt with the outer foot. And again, see your level of contentment. And then some of you can back off a little bit. Some of you can go a little bit further over, depending. Rolling that left hip, rolling that outer left thigh down away from your left shoulder, pulling the left foot upwards. Deepening that breath. Yes. Good. Okay, and then come back to the center and release that leg and stretch it out. Good. Now bring your legs together and lift up your arms again. Lock your thumbs above you and just pull your heels away from your fingernails. Pull your legs away from your arms. Lengthen your waistline. Switch the cross of your thumbs. Connect the buttocks to your heels. Connect your shoulder blades to your hands and lengthen your waistline. And then inhale, as you exhale, draw both knees into the chest and wrap your arms around your legs. That's it. Draw the thighs down, staying balanced on the sacrum. Noticing what your tendency is. Okay, good. Now bring your feet down, and then we're going to take downward dog again. Have your blocks nearby outside your mat, somewhere near the head side of your mat. So take downward facing dog again. Have your blocks nearby. And now you can have a regular downward dog, so your feet can be as wide as your shoulders. Otherwise, go wider again. That looks good, Chris. There you go, that's good. And then move your chest back. There you go. Yeah, I think that looks better to me, Rajiv. Yeah, with your hands on blocks. So straighten your arms, straighten your legs, and just see, how is the pose coming now after the Supta Padangusthasana work? My experience is it always comes a little bit better. There's a little bit more freedom in my dog pose. That may or may not be your experience. Make sure that your feet are at least as wide as your hands. Good. Now come forward for Uttanasana. Have your feet apart. That's it. Take your hands out to the sides. That's where if you need those blocks, have them under your hands, but have the hands and the blocks wider than the feet. If anyone needs to go to a wall, put your hands up on the wall if you're dealing with back sensitivity today. Release your head down. Make sure your hands are wider than your feet and you're up on your fingertips. Good choice, Rajiv. That's the way to practice. Straighten your legs. So remember how you were pointing your heels down? Pointing your heels upwards rather in the Supta Padangusthasana. Now point your heels down. And everybody shift your body weight more into your heels. Go back, lean your hips back and see how that feels. That's it. And then come forward into the ball mounds of your feet. Come forward, lean your hips forwards. Yes, one position increases the stretch, doesn't it? Now find a balance where you're not forwards or backwards. Your hips are right over the ankles. Be evenly weighted on your feet. Take your hands out to the sides. Good, release your head down. Now, some of you will use blocks, some of you won't. For Parsvottanasana, some of you can even reach for a chair. So I just reach for my blocks. I like to use blocks, and I have my right foot forward and my left leg back. Okay, so Parsvottanasana, concave back. So you can have your fingertips on the floor, or you can use blocks, look upwards, get a concave to come in your back. Make sure that you have a heel to heel alignment, unless you're choosing to go wider. Straight, both legs are straight, the blocks are right under the shoulders. Well, that's it, yes. And if you need more height, you can use a chair, the front seat of a chair. So lift your chest and then have a heel to heel alignment, straighten that front right leg, pressing that right inner foot down, draw the right hip back. If you want to, Veronica, take a longer distance. So that's it, and steer the right hip back, left hip forwards. Keep the back heel down. If you need anything under that back heel, you can always take that. And then just walk your hands all the way forward. Take whatever props you have forward as well. Go all the way forward. So Adho Mukha Parsvottanasana. And release your head down. This is part of my daily practice, this pose, because it really helps me awaken my hamstrings. Maybe that's true for you, maybe not. But your legs have to be straight for the hamstrings to extend. If it doesn't feel good to walk the blocks forwards, just keep the blocks under the shoulders and stay more in a concave back. That's it. Straighten those legs. Now walk your hands back and switch your legs. That's it. Bring your left leg forward, bring your right leg back. Line up your left heel with your right heel or go wider. Concave your back, lift your chest and look upwards. Make sure that your legs are straight and your hips are even. So usually we have to draw the front left hip back a bit from the outer left knee into the outer left hip and take the inner right thigh back. Good. Now inhale once you have that concave in your back, and then exhale, walk your hands all the way forward and let your head come down in between your arms like downward dog. That's it. Relax your head. But keep your body weight moving backwards into the right leg, even though you're going to feel a lot more sensation in the front leg for most of us, right? But keep your body weight in the back leg, spiraling that inner right thigh back, drawing that left hip back, moving the front of that left thigh into the back of the thigh. Very good. Now bring your blocks back or your hands back. Okay, for the next one, some of you will need a blanket under the knees. So you can have a blanket there, but just take a simple lunge pose. So I have my right leg forward and I have my left leg back and my left knee is up. And I have my hands on some blocks. You can have the blocks at any level. Just get the back leg to be straight. Try to get your back left heel. Yes, I find it, again, just like the hamstrings, if you warm up the hip flexors, you're going to have better standing poses. Yes. Good. So the block should be right under the shoulders. You're in a simple lunge pose. I'm showing if anyone needs to, if you're confused at all. That's it. So once you have the right knee right over the ankle, straighten that back leg, make it poker straight, and reach your breastbone forwards and your left heel backwards. So that's opposing directions, right? Now bring the back knee down. That's where you might need a blanket under the back knee. Unfold your back foot so you're pointing your back foot. Keep your front ankle right over the knee. Right under the knee rather, and then bring your hands onto the top of that thigh and just press down with your hands. Keep lengthening the front of this left hip. Bring your tailbone forwards, press your hands down, roll your shoulders back, and just open up the front of that hip. And make sure that you're more towards the front of your left patella. That's the kneecap. You can bring the middle buttocks a little bit forward. Yes, without any sense of dumping. Those of you more flexible, don't dump. keep resisting the left inner leg backwards. So there has to be a resistance. That's it, good. And now bring your hands down and switch your legs. Bring the left leg forward and bring the right leg back. And you can have your feet as wide as the sitting bones. Just start with a regular lunge pose with the back knee upwards. So make sure that your left ankle is right under the knee, and then draw your attention to the back leg. That's where the stretch is in this particular pose. So reach that right heel back away from your calf muscle and lift up that right inner thigh. And as you reach that right inner heel backwards, reach your breastbone forwards and really extend that back leg. That's it. Now bring your back knee down, use support if you need to. Keep your left ankle right under the knee and bring your hands to the top of the left thigh and press gently down to lift your chest. Unfold your back foot so your back foot is pointed. It's a Virasana foot, that's it. And as you press down, does anyone feel a stretch in the front of that left hip? You guys here, isn't it nice? So open up the front of that left hip, bring the tailbone forward. Some of you can move the middle buttock band forward without any sense of dumping. In other words, if you're overly flexible, you have to resist more the back leg. Yes, good. Okay, and then release that, move your blocks aside, and one last time, take downward facing dog and just see how that feels now. After those lunging poses. Yes. Good, and then walk your feet forwards. You can move your blanket away and be in Uttanasana once again, have your feet apart. Some of you can take your hands further back alongside your feet. Use any props you need under the hands or move to a wall again if that's better. That's another good choice, Rajiv, good. Straighten your legs, point your heels downwards, and then lift the backs of the knees up into the buttock bones. So there's a real opening of the back of the leg. Hug the outer hips in, inhale, and then flow down. Flow your side ribs down, your armpits down, your head down, and let go. That's the way. Okay, and then bring your hands to your hips, reach your chest forwards, and up you come. Great. Okay, stand in Tadasana. Join your feet together or have them a little bit apart as needed. That's it. Keep moving the heels downwards. The thighs go back. That middle buttocks comes forwards. Reach up through the sides of your trunk. Visualize a string pulling the crown of your head upwards, and then raise your arms. And have your palms facing each other. So those outer armpits are going forwards. That's it. Keeping those thighs back. Top of the buttocks is down. Yes, sides of the trunk are long. If you can do it, keeping your back ribs lifting towards your thumbs, you raise your arms higher and you move your arms further back without leaning backwards. That's great. And then bring your arms forwards and down. Okay, now the next one is a little bit tricky. So you might need something to balance with. So you might need a chair, or you guys can use a wall. You guys can use a wall. So watch what I do. And some of you may not need it at all. I'm just saying, just in case. So I just have something to balance on because I want to get the balls of my feet up onto that block. So this is Tadasana with the balls of my feet up on that block. So see if you can do that. And you can use a soft block. If anyone wants to use a soft block, I have soft blocks there. Most of you at home, I think, have the soft blocks. And the feet don't have to be all the way together. Yes, so you get the ball of your foot up there. If you need to be near a wall, be near a wall or have a chair to the side so you can get your sense of balance. Yes. And if that feels like it's just too thick for you, you can also use a bolster, a really thick bolster. Yes, but the idea is to get the heels to go down. Do all of you feel that? How the heels are really down? That's what you want to feel. So from the back of the knee to the heels has to go down. And notice how your thighs are back. Can you sense how the thighs are automatically back? Now, can you keep your thighs back, but bring your middle buttocks forward? Bring the middle buttocks forward, lift up to your chest. If you have your balance, interlace your fingers, turn your palms forwards and go up. So get those thighs back, middle buttocks forwards. Bring your tailbone in just a little bit more, Karen, and lift your back ribs. Yes, lift the back ribs, good. Bring your arms forwards and down and reverse the interlace and go back up. Otherwise, just stand in Tadasana if you're not able to balance. That's it. So get the thighs back. What you're doing is great, Susan, at the wall. I think I'll do that in my beginner's class. That's a really good idea. So that's it. And the middle buttocks comes forwards. Lift up through your chest, raise your arms up and hit the arms back. Super good. And now release. Great. Okay, now you can take the block away, and some of you can still have the support because we're going to do Vrikshasana. So you might want to have the support on your left-hand side. So balance on your left inner foot, turn your right leg out and bring your right foot all the way up into your inner thigh. Okay, or as high as you can get it. If that's not happening, bring it to your shin bone below the knee. And that's it. So press the inner left foot down, draw this left hip in, keep it in, and then keep your right buttocks forwards. Don't let your hips turn, but move your right knee back. Move that right knee back. That's it. Yes, and then bring your arms out to the sides, revolve your arms, and raise your arms upwards. Keep your palms facing each other. Keep pulling upwards. Those of you who can, turn your palms forwards and lock your thumbs above you. Lock your thumbs and squeeze your arms into your head. Yes, and keep moving the right knee back without taking the right hip back. The right buttocks comes down and forward. Vrikshasana. Nice, that's very good, you guys, nice. Okay, and then bring your hands to your heart center and release. Yeah, Rajiv, move to a wall. It's fine to have your back near a wall. I have this chair on the side, but that may not be enough. So you can take any support you need. So press that inner right foot down, turn your left leg out, raise your left leg up and place your foot all the way up as high as you can into your pelvic floor. So press that inner right foot downwards so that the right hip starts to get absorbed in. Keeping your hips even, can you move the left knee back? Move the left knee back without taking your left hip back, and then bring your arms out, revolve your arms, raise your arms, turn your palms forwards, and lock your thumbs above you the less habitual way. That's it, and keep drawing that right hip in, moving the left buttocks down, nice bend, moving that left knee back without taking the hip back. Pull the sides of your trunk upwards. These are beautiful. Nice, it's a forest. And then bring your hands to your heart center and then release. There's nothing better than a forest, is there? Nothing better than a forest. That's why we have to make sure we don't lose them. Okay, so now we're going to do some standing poses classically. So turn your mat sideways. Okay, and then I'll show you, and you can have your blocks on either side of your mat. You can start with the blocks more on the toe side of your mat. So there's the toe side, which is the forward side, and the heel side, which is the back side, right? So have the blocks at the medium level on the toe side. And then just watch first. So we're going to do the poses this way from Prasarita Padottanasana. So Prasarita Padottanasana, I turn my feet, and then you'll come over Parsvottanasana. Feel free to use a block there, that's fine. And then from there, you'll bring this hand onto the leg and you'll draw this leg up into Utthita Trikonasana. And then we'll come down and we'll go back to the other side, okay? So get ready, stand in Tadasana, bring your hands to the center of your chest and step or jump your legs wide apart. There you go. And bring your feet all the way out under the hands. You're going to teach this class next week, right, Karen? Make sure that your heels are a little bit wider. Karen just got certified as a yoga teacher. Isn't that wonderful? Congratulations. So bring your hands to the hips, lift up through the sides of the chest, roll the shoulders back, and then come forwards and bring your fingertips down and concave your back. Of course, if you need your blocks there, you just kind of, travel from side to side with your blocks. Now turn your left foot in slightly, turn your right leg out, walk your hands over to the right and place your right hand on the inner edge of the foot. You can use a block there and get your right buttocks to come forwards. Bring your left hand onto the hip and open up. Left hand is on the hip. So your right knee is bent. Parsva Konasana. You can use a block there. So this right arm is helping to lengthen that right inner thigh, isn't it? So move the right buttocks forwards. Now straighten your back leg and lift the inner leg up. Roll this left shoulder back. That's it. Good. Just for a moment, take this arm up and reach up with this left arm and roll the left ribs back. Keep bringing that right buttocks forward. Good. Now bring your left hand onto your hip. Bring your right hand onto your ankle and straighten your leg. Straighten your leg. If the ankle feels too low, move it higher up to the shin. You could still use your block if you want to. Just move your block to the little toe side of the foot. So straighten that right leg even more, Susan. Straighten that. Absorb your right leg in. Yes. And absorb the right buttocks forwards. Yes, right buttocks forwards, but then move your left thigh back. So that's Tadasana. When we say thighs back, middle buttocks forwards, in this pose, it manifests as that right buttocks coming forwards and that left thigh moving back. Now take your top arm up for a moment. Reach the top arm away from the bottom arm and roll your left ribs back. If your neck is feeling good, lift your chin away from the breastbone and look up towards your left hand. Nice. Now bend your front knee, get your stability, bring your left hand down and walk back to the center. Walk back to the center. That's the way. Have outer edges of your feet parallel. Make sure that your feet are on a straight line and then turn your right foot in a little bit. Turn your left leg out, walk your hands to the left, and then organize your left hand on the inside of your left foot. Maybe you can use a block there if it feels better. Bend your left knee and bring your right hand onto the hip. Yes, there you go, Heidi. Good. And what's nice about this is almost everybody's left hip is lower than when we come into it from the top. Everybody that I see online and here in the room, everybody's hip is lower, which is nice. It's kind of a sneaky way to get into a deeper position. So if you can do it, Veronica, have your hand on the inside. We're doing that, and then bend your knee so it's right over the ankle. Bend your left, there you go. So once you have that left inner thigh lengthening, draw that left buttocks forwards, keep your inner right leg lifting. The inner right leg is lifting. Roll your right shoulder back and take your top arm up and roll those right ribs back. Lift your head away from your chest. That's it. Be on your fingertips, Trace. Yeah, that's it. And then bring your right hand back to the hip. Bring your left hand onto your leg and slowly unfold your leg. Straighten your leg and draw it into your hip. Turn your inner left leg to the outer left leg like that, Lois. Keep straightening that leg. Roll the right shoulder back. Roll the right thigh back. So get the feeling of the left buttocks forwards, the right thigh back, straighten that left leg even more if you can, and then raise your right arm up. Reach your top arm away from your bottom arm, roll your right ribs back, maybe turn your head if the neck is feeling up for it today. Good, now bend your left knee and then walk back to the center. That's it. Now, just bring your hands, keep your hands under the shoulders. Some of you can jump, some of you can heel to toe your feet in, but just bring your feet hip distance apart. Have the outer edges of your feet parallel, hold your elbows and go down, Baddha Hasta Uttanasana. If that doesn't feel good holding the elbows with your feet hip distance, then please bring your hands to the floor or go back to, yeah, you need something. So put your hands on try putting your hands on the top of the chair and stretch the chair forward. Bring your hands here, stretch that's it. There you go, that's fine. It's the same idea, right? Switch the cross of your arms. Are your hips over your heels or over the ball mounds of your feet? Try to get them over the ankles. Open up the backs of the knees. Very good. Now bring your hands onto your hips, reach the chest forwards and up you come. And bring your legs together. And then just take note, did that way of entering the pose bring you a little bit more contentment and easefulness? For some of you it did, for some of you not so much, but it's just good to keep approaching from different angles to find more contentment in the poses. Now we're going to come in classically. So watch what I do. So you can have these blocks on the heel side now. And we're going to experiment and see how it feels. I'm going to just turn to this side so that I'm going to be even. So watch what I do. So now I come into classic Trikonasana, right? And then I come into classic Parsvakonasana. So now the block is on the little toe side of the foot. This arm goes back, and then you can bring it up this way and roll. And then see how it feels to come in from below and to come in from the top, how he says in Light on Yoga. Okay, so let's try it. So stand in Tadasana. Bring your feet together, step or jump your legs wide apart. That's it. Have your toes going straight forwards. Turn your left foot slightly in, turn your right leg out, have a heel to arch alignment. Straighten your legs, lift your chest, and then reach over and down. Bring your right hand onto the leg. Yes. So press your heels down, draw your kneecaps up, absorb that right buttocks, get the confidence that brings the right buttocks, brings you the confidence, but keep your left thigh moving back, the outer left thigh. Roll your left ribs back. Good. Now bring your left hand onto the hip, bend your right knee, and bring your right hand down on the little toe side of the foot. And get your right hip as low as you did from the other entry. Yes, without dropping your inner left leg. That's it, Heidi. Roll the left shoulder back, and then stretch your left arm back behind you. Inhale, and then sweep it up alongside the back of your ear. That's it, Nancy, beautiful. Keep reaching from your outer left foot beyond those left fingertips. Roll the left ribs back. Make sure that you're breathing. Very good. Now lift up your left arm and up you come. Well done. Turn your right toes forwards. Bring your hands to the hips. Deepen your breath. Bring your arms out to the side, shoulder height. Turn your right foot slightly in. Turn your left leg out. Line up your left heel with your right arch. Keep this right hip in, just like tree pose. Lift your chest, lean back, and then reach over and down. Utthita Trikonasana. Straighten your legs. Yes, absorb that left buttocks under you. Keep your head in line with your hips. Reach up with that right arm. Nice, you guys. Now bring your right hand onto the hip. Inhale, bend your left knee and bring your left hand down to the floor or the block on the little toe side of the foot. And move your left knee back into the arm. Absorb the left buttocks forwards. Keep your inner right leg lifting away from the floor. Roll the right shoulder back, head back. Now stretch the right arm back behind you. Inhale, and then as you exhale, sweep it up alongside the ear. Nice, Tracy. Press that outer right foot, reach beyond those right fingertips. Roll the right ribs back. Nice. And now raise your right arm up and come up out of the pose. Turn your left toes forwards. That's it. Step or jump your legs back together. Again, stand with your feet hip distance apart. Have the outer edges of your feet parallel. Hold your elbows. Have your feet apart. That's it. And then come down. Baddha Hasta Uttanasana. And again, bring your hands onto something if you need to, onto blocks. Feet are apart. Feet are apart. So this is the pose that the Iyengars prescribed for resting in between standing poses, which is interesting because for some of us, it's a hard pose. So if it's hard, bring your fingertips to the floor. Keep your hips right over those ankles. This is better, but just keep the top of that shin bone moving slightly forward. Press more through here. Press that so the top of the shin bone comes down. Switch the cross of your arms. Relax your jaw. See if you can get any sense of resting. Any sense of relaxing in between the standing poses. Super good. Now bring your hands onto your hips. Reach the chest forwards and up you come. Good. Okay, now I'm going to show two different ways to do this, depending on how you're feeling today and whatever's going to give you the most contentment, because that's what we're working for. So some of you, you'll have your right hip near a wall, and after I do this, we can organize where you can go if you want to use a wall. And you just come down, Ardha Chandrasana, with your hip against the wall. Now, and you can, of course, have a block under the hand. I didn't show that, but you can have that. Now, some of you don't need that, so you can be away from the wall, and you can just step into it. So my hand comes a little bit to the side, and I go right into it away from the wall. So either stepping into it away from the wall or stepping into it at the wall. Choose what's going to be best for you, okay? So if you're at the wall, have your right hip to the wall. Who wants to come to the wall? You can use this wall, and then you can use that wall over there, Rajiv, or that you can use that wall there under the thermostat. Very good. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so get ready. So balance on your right foot. Make sure that your right foot is straight. Maybe your right hip is at the wall, And maybe you have a block all the way against the wall. And then come down, Ardha Chandrasana, Ardha Chandrasana. Yes. Those of you, yeah, on the ropes, just, yeah, there you go. Good. Very good. So lean back into the wall, lean back, lean back, lean back. Make sure that your right foot is straight. That's the first thing. If you're in the center, I recommend using a lower block, not a high block, because it just compromises the balance a little bit. If you're at the wall, a high block is fine. Yes. So absorb the right buttocks under you. Look down at your right foot, Karen, see how it's turning in a little bit. There you go. And reach your left leg back. Good. Reach up with your left arm. Find that confidence. Good. Now bend your right knee. That's beautiful, Marie. Come down and we'll go for the other side. So Ardha Chandrasana. So your left hip will be near to the wall. Otherwise, you're just stepping into it. That's it, Yumi. You got it. Stepping into the pose, either at the wall or in the center. If you're in the center, use a lower block. Yeah, that's great, Veronica. Nice. Make sure that your standing leg foot is straight. It tends to turn in. And as you lift that left leg up, absorb that left buttocks under you. That's where the contentment comes. The contentment comes when you feel confident. If you don't have confidence in a pose, it's very difficult to be content. Chris, can you lift your back leg higher? Lift your back leg higher and higher and higher. There you go. Reach back through that right leg. Lift up your right arm. Turn your right toes more towards the orange wall, Karen. There you go. Good. Now bend that left knee and come down. Great. Now, some of you are going to stay with that. Some of you can stay with that, right? Others of you, watch, you can try putting those poses that we've done so far today together. So you come from Trikonasana into Parsvakonasana into Ardha Chandrasana. So that's the classic entry. And the challenging part for many of us is coming down. And you find again, Parsvakonasana, Trikonasana, Parsvahasta Padasana. Okay, so if you'd like to try it in the center, try it in the center. Otherwise, you're going to be repeating at the wall, or you can also step into it. If you're at the center, have your left foot on the left side of the mat. And if you're using a block, you just move the block with your hand. The block is like connected to your hand, okay? So take your arms and your legs wide apart. Yeah, you can even do this like what Marie is doing. She's doing this whole series, but she's doing it with your back against the wall. So if you'd like to try that, you could also do that. That's like halfway in between. You can do the whole series. Otherwise, you can just step into it like you did the first time. Okay, so have your left foot at the edge of your mat, turn your right leg out, lift your chest, and then come to Utthita Trikonasana. That's it. Good. Come to Parsvakonasana, right hand down. That's it. And then bring your back foot forward, move your right hand forward, move the block forward as well. Lean into your right hand, lean into your right foot, go up, Ardha Chandrasana. There you go. Yes. See if you can move your block lower the second time, Rajiv. Yes. Straighten that back leg. Good. Now coming down is the most challenging part. Bring your left hand to the hip. Keep your right buttocks under you. Bring your back foot down. Bring your right hand back. Move your left foot back to where you started. Straighten your right leg, Trikonasana. Straighten your right leg, Trikonasana. Lift up your left arm. Press your left foot and come up out of the pose. That's it. Good. Turn your right toes forwards. Step or jump. So make sure when you're coming down out of the pose that you're just not getting a short Trikonasana. You have to really move this. I should show here. You're not getting a short Trikonasana like this. You have to move this foot further back. And then you straighten that leg to come back into your Trikonasana. So that's why it's good to use the back edge of the mat as like a reference. So bring your right foot to this right edge of your mat. Step your left leg out to the side. And remember, that's where you're bringing your foot back to. So start all the way at the edge there, Karen, at the edge of your mat with your right foot. That's it, yes. Have your feet all the way out. Now turn your right foot in slightly, turn your left leg out, lift your chest, and then reach over and down, Utthita Trikonasana. Yes, straighten the legs, lift up the chest. Now Parsvakonasana, Parsvakonasana, hand on the little toe side of the foot. That's it. And then Ardha Chandrasana, shift forwards, right foot forwards, left hand forwards. You got it, Marie. There you go. Travel. There you go. And then lift up that right arm, head back. There you go. Yes. Good, you guys. Land it. Reach through that right leg. Now, bring your right hand onto the hip. Bend your left knee. Bring your back foot down. Pause. move your left hand back and move your right foot all the way back to the edge of the mat. Straighten your left leg. Utthita Trikonasana, lift up your right arm and up you come. Okay, those are coming well. Turn your left toes forwards, bring your arms and your legs back together. Great. Okay, now stand in Tadasana, just take some deeper breaths in and out. Bring your feet together, reach down through your arms. Roll your shoulders back, lift up through the crown of the head. And just see if you haven't, maybe even if it's just very minuscule, a little bit more contentment, less agitation, less unhappiness in some of your standing poses. Good. Okay, now get your 2 blocks and have them on the left-hand side of your mat this way. So you guys will have it over towards the curtains, and then the blocks are in front of you and the feet are down. You're about 2 feet behind the blocks. And then watch what I do. Now the feet are together. The feet are together. I come down and you can bring your hands onto these blocks. Now, some of you can go lower with the blocks. That's fine, as long as you have a concavity in your back. And then you take this left leg up back behind you. Okay, so let's do that. So bring your feet together, stand about 2 feet behind the blocks. If the blocks feel too low, use the seat of a chair. Bring your hands onto the hips and then bend forwards and bring your hands down to those blocks. You got it. And lift your chest. So concave your back. And if you can go lower with the blocks or lose the blocks, go ahead and just be on your fingertips on the floor. That's fine. So whatever you can do, but lift your chest. Make sure that your hips are right over your ankles. Now balance on your right inner foot and draw your left leg up back behind you. Draw that left leg up. Yes, good. Okay, good. Now bring your left leg down, lift your chest, and then press your inner right foot down and draw the right leg up back behind you. Draw that right leg up. Yes, reach it backwards. Good. Okay, and now bring that right foot down, bring your hands to the hips and come up. So everybody looked pretty good, but what I want you to focus on 2 things. One is when you lift this leg, don't let it turn out. So we're not going into Ardha Chandrasana again. This has to come up, the inner thigh, and try to move this buttocks towards this leg. Okay, and just have your foot flex for now. The classic pose, he opens up the ankle, but just have it flex for now. And then the next thing is when you're doing it, when you're doing the pose, see if you can get what we did earlier. Breastbone forward, left inner heel back. Can you see how this is related to that lunge pose? So I'm really reaching the breastbone in one direction, reaching the heel back. That gives me a lightness. And then start to get lighter on your hands, because eventually, you don't have your hands down. So get lighter on the hands, bring more of the body weight into the legs. One more time like that. Stand behind your blocks, bring your hands to the hips, come down, concave your back. Legs are together. Balance on your inner right foot and sweep your left leg up back behind you. Make sure that you're not letting the leg turn out. Lift the inner left thigh higher, move the left buttocks to the left, and now reach your breastbone forwards and your left heel backwards strongly. And be lighter on your hands. Be lighter on the hands. Yes, so it's in your legs. Good. Now bring your left leg down. Balance on your inner left foot. Concave your back, look upwards, and then lift your right leg up back behind you. Make sure the leg is straight. That's first, straight leg, straight, straight, straight. Lift from the inner right thigh. And then move the right buttocks to the right. Pull your breastbone away from your right heel and be lighter on your hands. Get lighter on the hands. That's the way. And now release. Super good. Now, some of you are going to continue with that. You can continue with that. Some of you, we're going to try this today. We're going to try to come into the pose from Urdhva Hastasana. So you just kind of slant into it. So Urdhva Hastasana, we all know, is this pose, right? And then I just lean forwards and I just come right into my Virabhadrasana 3. Okay, now that might be too much, so you have your blocks. You can just bring your hands right down to the blocks. Okay, so let's try that. Stand in Tadasana, raise your arms upwards. That's it, and then start to lean your left leg backwards, lean your upper body forwards, and lift, go up, that's it. And you have to balance on that right leg. If it feels too much, bring your hands down to the blocks and look forwards, you got it. That's the way. Good. And now come back up to the same position, Urdhva Hastasana. Nice, Lois. Bring your arms down for a moment and rest. Okay, how did that feel? It's kind of fun, right? Yes, okay. One more time. So stand with your feet together. Raise your arms upwards. Yes, Urdhva Hastasana. Your palms are facing inwards. Balance on your left foot. If you're like me, one hip is a little bit weaker. So just notice that as you start to bring your right leg up and you lean forwards. Don't let your right leg turn out. Pull your right heel away from your fingertips. Reach from your armpits to your pinky fingers. Keep lifting that inner right leg up. Virabhadrasana 3. Beautiful. And then come back up. Nice. That's the way. Okay, that's a nice way to practice it. Okay, now take your heels in line with the back edge of the mat. Stand towards the orange wall. Bring your hands to the hips and step or jump your legs wide apart. Bring your arms out. Make sure that your feet are all the way out under the fingertips. Have the heels a little bit wider than the toes. Lift up through your chest. Roll those shoulders back and then come down. Concave your back. Some of you can walk your hands forward and put something under your forehead, like a block or a bolster. Others of you bend your arms and walk your hands back and then let your head come down. The crown of your head can come to the floor, or you can put something under the crown of the head. That's it. If you're walking your hands forward, your arms should be like downward dog, and your head is, the block is under your forehead, but your arms are forward. That's it, Catherine. You got it. Yeah, that's fine, Rajiv. I'll take that. Straighten your legs. Marie, take your heels a little bit wider than your toes. Spread your toes. And now bring more weight to your inner feet. Bring more weight to the inner feet. See how that feels. Take your heels, bring your toes a little bit closer together, Tracy. And then now bring more weight to the outer feet. And see what you need to do. Just like we were tipping backwards from the heels to the ball mounts, in this pose, see what you need to do. Do you need to bring more weight to the inner feet or the outer feet in order to extend the inner legs away from each other? That's it. Keeping your hips right over your ankles. If your hands are forward, press your hands down and move your hips back like downward dog. If your hands are down, Susan, bring your palms flat. Your ankle seems to have done very well, Susan, didn't it? That's great. Bring your palms flat. That's it. And lift your shoulders up. Very nice. Now lift up your head and walk your hands either backwards or forwards. That's it. Bring your feet closer together. Bring your hands to the hips and up you come. Great. Stand in Tadasana. And see if you can put a check mark right next to more contentment in my standing poses. Little check mark, right? That's it. Okay, so release that. And then those of you doing handstands, inversions, you're going to go to a wall. Actually, everyone bring your mat to the wall. Bring your mat to the wall. So maybe Alessandra, go there. Rajiv, you can come over here to this space right here. That's it. And do either do downward dog with your hands at the wall, downward facing dog with your hands at the wall. Otherwise, do full handstand or half handstand. Okay, so full handstand or half handstand. You can do
headstand instead of handstand.
No, we're going to do headstand next. Yeah, we're going to do, yeah. So just bring the short edge of your mat to the wall. Go ahead for it. Yeah, if anyone here wants to do ropes, wants to do ropes downward dog instead, you can do that. Good. So half handstand, full handstand, or you're doing downward dog with your hands turned out at the wall. Yes. That's it. Straighten your arms, straighten your legs. Those of you doing half handstand, press your heels into the wall. Beautiful, Marie. Lift up your hips, shoulder blades in, turn the tops of those arms out. Yes, that's it, Karen. Ah, this is improving, isn't it? Relax your jaw, relax your tongue, your neck. That's it. Good. And then when you're ready to come down, if you did downward dog or half handstand, rest in child's pose. If you did handstand, full arm balance, have your buttocks at the wall, have your feet forwards and come down and be in Baddha Hasta Uttanasana, angular, with your hips at the wall and your feet forwards. So the feet are far enough forwards that you feel like you're sitting against the wall. Otherwise, be in child's pose. Okay, one more time like that. If you're doing downward dog, turn around and do downward dog with your heels at the wall. And if you'd like to just rest, put your legs up the wall without support and just rest with your legs up the wall. If you're done doing in handstand. Otherwise, do downward dog with your heels at the wall, do another half handstand, or do full arm balance. Do you want me to help you up, Karen? For hand, anyone wants me to help you up, I will, in the full arm balance. Maria or Karen, I can help you up. Okay, great. Good. So go ahead up. Bring your hands 1 hand's distance back away from the wall, a little bit further back, further. That's it. Okay, and then lift up. And then which leg are you going to go up with? Which leg is going to be straight? The left. Okay, good. 1, 2. And then you got it. There you go. Straighten your arms. You got it. Roll those thighs in. Scrub the heels up. Deepen your breath. Breathe only through your nose, Alessandra. Yeah, that's it. Yes. Good. And that's it. Good, Susan. Okay, and then when you're ready to rest, come down and rest in either child's pose or you can rest. That's great. And now you rest in this pose. Have your buttocks against the wall. You did it. Great. And then you go down. You know, I know exactly, right? And that you were very light. That wasn't a problem. It's usually a fear factor for all of us. You know, it's mental because you have the physical strength. Okay, now if you do headstand, go for headstand pose. You can either stay at the wall or you can come to the center. Those of you not doing headstand today, please take Supta Swastikasana. So you have a bolster for your spine and you cross your legs and you're sitting in front of the bolster and you're going back and you bring your arms up. If anyone wants to do the back bender, if anyone wants to do the headstander, or if you want to hang on the ropes here, feel free to do any of those things. So as we practice together, I just think I'm more like practicing with you guys. So never hesitate to take advantage of anything you want to take advantage of. It's your house. So just be comfortable here. You need something under that. That's going to slip. So you have to have a mat under there because that's going to slip on the floor. That's good like that. Okay, so be up in your headstand. And this is a super important pose to find Santosha in. That's it. If you're not doing headstand, be in Supta Swastikasana. So you have a bolster like I'm showing here. You have a bolster under your spine and your legs are crossed and your arms are up. So please be in this pose if you're not doing headstand today. And the restorative poses are a great place to learn about contentment because most of us feel content in those poses. So Catherine, just make sure your head isn't falling back. That's great. Good. And then I also like to experiment. Once you've done that, I experiment with having my fingertips on the floor and I press fingernails. That's it. Fingernails going towards the back of your head. That's it. And I use the fingertips and see how that feels. So it gives you something else, doesn't it? Yeah, so you can go back and forth between those two. These look great, you guys. Yes. If it's possible, Veronica, come a little bit more towards the crown of your head. Bring your chin more to the chest. Yeah, you can come down. Move this aside so it's not in your way. That looks great. Keep getting the buttocks to go to the heels, rolling the thighs in. Bring that right hip forward, Susan. Right, there you go. Yes, like that. And see if you can find that first Tadasana of as you roll the thighs in, the thighs go back a little bit, but the middle buttocks comes forward. The middle buttocks comes forward. As you're in the pose for a while, you might find that your hips feel a little bit forward of your legs, not dramatically, but it starts to go in that direction as long as you feel that length in your lumbar spine. And of course, if I hold too long for anyone, you just come down into child's pose. Those of you in Supta Svastikasana, switch the cross of your legs and then switch the cross of your arms. That looks great, Rajiv. Really good. Turn your head a little bit to the right. A little bit more to the right. Yes, there you go. This way. There you go. Perfect. That's it. Great. Keep those shoulders lifting. Trace, bring your right hip. There you go. Right hip a little bit forward. Now, as you bring that right hip forward, Susan, roll your left leg in. Yes. Relax your breath, relax your jaw, your tongue. Find contentment in your Shirsasana or your Supta Svastikasana. If you're not in contentment in any situation, the first thing to do is connect with your breath. That's the easiest thing to do. And as soon as you do that, things are just a little bit different. If you're not breathing, everything is very difficult. Karen, turn your head a little bit to the left. That's it. Yes, good. Okay, headstanders, if you're feeling really good, you can stay another few moments. Otherwise, start to come down and rest in child's pose. If you're feeling at all fatigued, that looks great, Fran. Super good, Heidi. Beautiful, Natalie. Nice, Kathy and Chris. And Yumi, of course. Yumi, you could lean your left leg into your right leg more. Lean your left leg into your right leg and move your right hip in towards your left hip. Yes, like that. And I just do this. I just rest like this. It's a nice child's pose. So that's what I do. So any resting is fine. Great. Okay. Okay, if you're still in headstand, start to come down. Those of you on the bolster, bring your arms alongside your body. And if you need a blanket under your head, just put a blanket under your head and your neck if your head is falling back on the bolster. And then just stretch out your legs. Stretch out your legs. So everybody's in a resting position. Okay, and then come on up. Those of you who practice classic shoulder stand, get ready for classic shoulder stand. If you do chair shoulder stand, you can do chair shoulder stand. Okay, and then have your heads going towards the orange wall. Anyone doing shoulder stand? Okay, if you're not doing shoulder stand today, I want you to put your legs up onto the wall on a bolster. Okay, so have a bolster near to the wall, have some space in between the wall and the bolster, and put your legs up the wall. But now you have height under the hips. And put as much height as you can stand. Maybe a bolster and a folded blanket. You can always have another blanket or towel for your head and your neck. Those of you here, make sure to have your 3 or 4 blankets. If you're going to use a belt, make your belt as wide as your shoulders. And I would like to do some variations. I'd like to do Ekapada, which is the variation when you bring your legs straight down, and then Parsva Ekapada is when you bring the leg out to the side. Okay, so have your heads towards the orange wall, Karen. Have your head toward the orange wall. So those of you doing a shoulder stand classic, come into plow pose and get on the top of your shoulders. Those of you doing the chair, come into Baddha Konasana with your feet on the back of the chair and just get settled there. Get settled so your shoulders are down. Those of you in Halasana, you can either hold on to the sides of the sticky mat or you can interlace the fingers. Those of you with your legs up on the wall, you can just get your legs up onto the wall. Yes. And with your legs straight, take any props you need under your head. Those of you in plow pose, once you're on the top of the shoulders, of course, if you're using a belt, put it on, and then bring your hands onto the back. And then I'll show you what I like to do, just to give a little bit more height here. Yeah, that's perfect. So just put this put this, come up for a second. Put this up like this so your elbows can stick a little bit. And then I always like to have a little block there. Try that, okay? Those of you in Halasana, bring your belt on, and if you're using it, put your hands on your back and lift your legs up. For Salamba Sarvangasana, those of you on the chair, bring your knees together and lift your legs up. There you go. Those of you on the chair, walk your hands further down the back legs of the chair. Turn the tops of your arms out and get the back of the armpit to come up so that those outer shoulders move into the bolster. Now, those of you on the blankets in classic pose, walk your hands further down your back and lift the skin of your back upwards. Press your outer shoulders down. Yes. Good. You're a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to help you adjust, okay? Join the club, right? So come here. That's better now, that's better. That's great. Good. Okay, so now those of you in the chair, this won't apply to you, right? Those of you in the classic pose, see if you can bring your middle buttocks forward, just like Tadasana, and then grow your legs up and roll them in and move them slightly back. So it's not like you're leaning your legs back, but their hips are forward. And when you look up, you shouldn't be able to see all of your legs. I mean, you might see a lot of it, but your legs are moving towards being out of view. That's how you can think of it. The legs move back, so they're coming out of view. So if you can see your whole legs, it's probably that you're piking a little bit. So see if you can walk your hands down, Karen, a little bit more your back, and then bring that middle buttocks forward, roll the thighs in. Good. Now, those of you with your legs up the wall, if there's room, take your legs wide apart into Upavishta Konasana and have your toes going straight towards the middle of your room. There you go. Good. Are you okay without a blanket under your head, I think? Okay, good. Those of you in the chair, make sure that your hips stay on the chair. They do not leave the chair. Everybody keep your left leg where it is. Do not let it drift backwards, especially on the chair. Keep your left leg where it is. And now bring your right leg forward so it comes more towards the right side of your head. Don't let your left leg drift back. Roll the left leg in. Don't let that left leg drift back. Keep your left hip foot right above the hip. This way. There you go. Right there. That's it. Lift your chest upwards. Straighten that right leg. Roll the left leg in and lengthen those inner legs. Think of Supta Padangustasana. Yeah, if it's coming well, you can bring your right foot closer and closer to the floor. That's it. Rolling that left leg in. Now raise the right leg up. Walk your hands further down your back. Now keep your right leg where it is. Again, something is stable, Purusha. Something is moving, Prakriti. Bring your left leg down. Roll the right leg in and keep reaching it up. That's it. So left leg straight out this way, just alongside your head. This one first. Yes, that's it. Roll that right leg in, straighten this leg. You got it. That's good, better. And it doesn't go very far. That's fine, Veronica and Marie. Beautiful. And now if you can bring your left foot any closer to the floor, do that. Otherwise, bring your left leg up. Yes. Good. Now we're going to do the one to the side. If this is enough for you, you can always come into plow pose at any time as a resting position. Otherwise, reestablish your pose, middle buttocks forwards. Lengthen the back of your neck. There you go. Yes. And now turn your right leg out and bring your right leg out to the side. Your right leg goes out to the side. And you're aiming it, that's beautiful, Lois. That's great. Yes, aim that right leg further to the side, Susan, more towards your elbow. It won't go all the way. That's great, Marie, beautiful. Don't let your left leg drift to the left though. Keep it stable. That's it. Now bring that right leg back up. Walk your hands down your back. Keep reaching up through that right leg until there's a lightness. The right leg has to do its work. It has to fulfill its dharma. Turn your left leg out, inhale, and then bring your left leg out to the side. Bring it further forward towards your head, Veronica, this way. Yes, like that, that's it. Good, nice, Marie. Lengthen that inner left leg. So it's Ardha Chandrasana, isn't it? Very good. Now bring that left leg up. Nice, Tracy. Good. Reestablish your pose. Now, those of you with your legs on the wall, come back to Baddha Konasana. Bring your legs to Baddha Konasana, which means to bend your knees and bring the bottoms of your feet together. Those of you on the chair, go back to Baddha Konasana. Those of you in the classic pose, go to plow pose. Go to plow pose. And just stay in plow pose. If you have a belt on, take it off and just bring your arms up alongside your ears. That's it. And then bend your elbows so your elbows come right in line with your shoulders. Yeah, you had that right idea. That's great. So bend your elbows this way. So it's like your arms are in a cactus shape. Yes. And see if you can rest there. That's it. Stay on the, keeping the toes rolled under, keeping the thighs lifting. Have a sense of resting. Backs of your thighs lifting. Good. Now, those of you on the wall, bring your knees together and then slide backwards until your hips come in front of the bolster, and then just cross your legs over the bolster and rest. Those of you on the chair, slide backwards and bring your legs onto the chair, bring your hips onto the bolster. Those of you in plow pose, extend your arms backwards, look upwards towards your feet and your hands, and then slowly come down. And once your buttocks comes to your support, that's when you bend your knees. Yes, and then slide your shoulders back off of the blankets and stretch your arms out to the sides. That's it. Those of you with your legs on a bolster, switch the cross of your legs. Connect with your breath and take some fulfilling breaths. Usually you can get some good breaths after shoulder stand or Vipariti Karani or chair shoulder stand. The body just feels compelled to breathe, which is a really good thing. Okay, and then if you have a bolster under your pelvis, take it away. And then everybody roll to your side. And we're going to sit with your legs crossed. And you can sit on some blankets if you'd like to, 1 or 2 blankets. You could even sit on as much as a bolster. And I just want you to do head supported Adho Mukha Swastikasana. So your hips are back. Those of you on the shoulder stand setup, you can just keep that same setup like Alessandra's doing. That works really well. And then you just come forwards. And I'm resting my head on a block. If you're sitting higher, you could even rest your forearms on the seat of a chair. So you can see the right height. You want it to feel restful. It's not like your deepest forward bend. It's just releasing your legs after the standing poses. Make sure that you're sitting on enough height that your knees are the same height as your hips, and then you'll need a chair. I'll get you a chair. Whatever height you're on, sit towards the back of it. If you need padding under the ankles, make sure to take that. You can double the sticky mat or just put blankets there. Rest your head. Some of you will be on a high block. Some of your blocks will be lower. Some of you will be on the seat of a chair. Really let loose your legs. Have a sense of releasing the legs downwards. If that doesn't feel good to your legs, do straight legs. Just do Paschimottanasana, Marie. And then sit towards the front of the blankets. So towards the front of the blanket. And then just rest your forearms on that chair. That's perfect. Good. Come back up and switch the cross of your legs. And go back in again. Cross your shins. That looks great, Catherine. Yes. Good. Exhale your breath. Let everything settle. Okay, and then slowly come up. And one more pose before Shavasana. Just take any version of Setu Bandha. So you could have a block under your tailbone. You guys here in the room have your feet towards the orange wall. You could have a block under the tailbone. You could have two blocks side to side. You could have a bolster going sideways. You know, any version of Setu Bandha with your hips elevated. The heels are down. You could always put your feet up on some support. Otherwise, just use lower blocks. It doesn't, again, have to be your deepest pose. It's just shifting the direction of the body before Shavasana. Turn your palms upwards. So block, Setu Bandha, any version. You can use a block, a bolster. And if it still doesn't feel good, just do it with your knees bent. Just have your feet flat and your knees bent. Just to get your chest to lift. Bring your shoulders down, stretch your legs, and have your heels down, your toes upwards. Roll the thighs in, turn the palms upwards. That's it. Lengthening the fronts of the thighs towards the knees, pulling the frontal hip bones up. Let everything quiet down, settle down. Good. Now bend your knees. Take that out from under and take Shavasana. Take any support you'd like under your thighs, under your head and your neck, over your eyes. Once you're in your position, take some deeper breaths in and out. And very consciously now, relax your legs all the way to your toes and relax your arms all the way to your fingers. Have that same feeling of your face, like when nice warm washcloth is on your face and there's a softening there. Bring your tongue away from your teeth, open up the back of your throat, relax your jaw. So there's a wideness also that comes to the face in Shavasana. Surrender your head into your heart. And like a tortoise pulling its head and its limbs into the shell, come into the cave of your heart and rest there. Find sanctuary inside your own heart space and let go. Now bring your hands onto your body and begin to deepen your breath. And bend your knees and roll to your side. And then slowly come up to sit. So if you feel drawn to it, join me and let's practice contentment in our different categories of postures, and even more importantly, in all the different areas of our lives. Finding contentment, noticing when we're not in that space, and then practicing whatever we need to practice to bring ourselves back into Santosha. Bring your hands to your heart space, lift your chest way upwards, and bow your head to your heart center. Acknowledge yourself for practicing yoga today. May it be that all of us find peace in our lives, that our loved ones find peace, and that this world finds peace and balance. Namaste.